My car has an issue. During long trips, my SRS light comes on pretty randomly. Now, of course, I'd love to diagnose it, but unfortunately, it's not that simple. This being an 80s car, it uses an early diagnostic system known as OBD1, and it's located next to the battery under this flap. Now, apart from the W124, the system is also used across the W201, W126, and some other models. Now, as you can see, my car has the 8-pole diagnostics term. Some of them came with 16 and some came with 38. Now, some cars, I believe it's the California models, have an LED at the 3rd term, as well as a button, I believe maybe on 2. And basically you would just hold down the button and you would have a built-in diagnostics tool, which is pretty sick. I have no clue why they only implemented that on the California models. Anyways, in my case, the only active poles are 6 and 7. This would be for the SRS system and this would be for the air conditioning. Unfortunately, I don't have the KE Jet diagnostics. I believe it's because my car is a bit too old. Instead, I have to diagnose it using the X11, which is over there. I'll probably make another video on that sometime in the future. But in general, depending on whether your car is a diesel, convertible, whatever it might be, these pins could be used for many different things. So in this video, I'll be showing you how to make a diagnostics tool so that you can know what's wrong with your car. Here are the resources which I'll be using for this project. Now, I'm going to be using a 12-volt LED. This already has a resistor built into it, so it kind of simplifies things, as well as a momentary switch with 2 pins. Now, technically, you could get a switch with an LED inside and 3 pins. That would further simplify it, but I chose to go with this design just so that I can make it look better. Now, if your car has a 16 or 38 pole diagnostics term, you're gonna need 3 4mm banana plugs, so ground, signal, and positive. However, if you're like me, my car has an 8 pole diagnostics term, therefore I will be using a alligator clip. This is gonna connect directly to the positive term of the battery itself, since the car does not have a pole in the diagnostics term for the positive power. And you're gonna need a screwdriver just so you can do and undo these banana plugs. Obviously, you're gonna need a wire cutter and stripper. Now, you don't have to do this, but I'll be using 2 different gauges of wire. I'll be using 18 gauge wire inside the box for the LED and the button itself. And I'm gonna be splicing it to 12 gauge wire, which is gonna be connected to the banana plugs and alligator clip just to make it look nicer. And of course, you're gonna need some heat shrink tubing as well as a source of heat. I'm gonna be using a lighter. You're gonna need a solderer as well as some soldering iron, and I'm gonna be using this to hold the wire in place. I just put some electrical tape on these alligator clips because they're pretty sharp and I don't want them to damage the wire and potentially cause any shorts. There's some nitroflux which should hopefully make it easier to solder. I'll be using a digital caliper for any measurements which I might need to take, and finally I'll be using a drill, a punch, and some drill bits so that I can make the holes for the buttons and LEDs inside of this plastic box I got off Amazon. Yeah, I just noticed that I forgot to order a brass sponge, so I'll be ordering that now. So first, I'm just gonna mark up where I want the LED and the button to be. I want the LED to be roughly here in the middle, and then the button to be up here so that I can press it with my thumb. I'm just gonna take a measurement of this, so it's roughly 79 millimeters by 49 millimeters. So let's say 50 by 80. So over here, I'm just gonna mark up at the 40 millimeters. And then over here, we're just gonna go down to 20. 2.5. Oh no, that's way off center. It's fine. The wires are gonna come out the bottom over here. Now, this hole needs to be roughly 15.5 millimeters, and that's roughly the size of the 3rd biggest level. There you go. And now the button needs to be roughly 11.5 millimeters. Let's try this one first. Look at that. This looks sick. Now, when it comes to the wires, I want them to roughly be the same length, so I'm gonna cut them all to around that long. There you go. I'm gonna splice some shorter wires. There you go. And the way it's gonna work is we're gonna have 2 halves going like that. Just cut that like slightly off center. So now here's what we're gonna do with these 2 wires. Basically, this wire is gonna be connected to the button as well as the switch, and then we're gonna have this wire which is gonna connect to this other wire. So to do that, I'm just gonna grab this again, go to the 18 gauge, and right in the middle, I'm just gonna use the box cutter. I guess we're adding a new tool to this very carefully. So I was pretty focused here and I forgot to speak. What I'm currently trying to do is to expose the center of the wire so that I can make a gap and then slip the other wire through that gap and then just twist it over itself over and over again. Haha. As you can see, now we can have one wire going to the bigger wire and then two wires, one for the LED and one for the switch. Now, obviously the black and the red leads are much easier since the black one just goes to the button. Meanwhile, the red one just goes to the LED. And yeah, once the sponge arrives tomorrow, I'll be soldering these on. Okay, so the sponge finally arrived and now it's time to solder. Now, I don't have a portable fan, which is why I'm gonna have my little brother just inhale all the fumes before they get to me. Okay, my parents didn't really like my idea, so they kicked me out into the garage. Well, it's much more ventilated here, so it's safer anyways. So let's get to work. As you can see, I have this over here getting heated. In the meantime, I'm just gonna use this brush to apply some flux. This flux is gonna make it much easier for the solder to actually melt onto the areas we want it to go. First, you need to, I believe it's called tinning the tip. You just want to put a bit of metal on the tip over here. So you're just gonna place some on the tip and then you're gonna move it. There you go. I believe that should be enough. So it's been a couple seconds now. It's pretty cold to the touch, and as you can see, it's on there pretty good. This is not going to go anywhere. Either way, no one's going to be tugging on this, so it's not going to matter too much. Now I'm just going to place some heat shrink over this and heat it up. Okay, so we're going to want to solder onto the LED and the switch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a bit of flux onto these connectors to allow the solder to stick onto these. And I'm just going to apply a thin layer of solder to this just to prepare it for when we actually solder the wires on. There you go. And since we're connecting these to the switch and the LED, we'll just do the same thing where we'll apply some flux to the ends here. And then we're gonna place some solder onto them. And now that this is cold, we're just gonna place it next to the switch, which we already applied solder to. So just by touching it, it should instantly latch on. There you go. That looks like a pretty good connection. And do the same thing with this one here, just like that. But now we're gonna basically do the same thing with the black and the red wire, except this is much easier. Now, because this is so short, I'm gonna just solder it first onto the red wire. Let's see if that should be good enough with some flux. And now I'm just gonna heat it up from the bottom and apply some wire as well. It doesn't look the best, but it should get the job done. Now I'm just gonna apply some heat shrink over it. Only thing left now is to solder this onto the LED. And now we just have to do this 3 more times. Since my car is an 8-pin, I'm going to be connecting a alligator clamp to the red wire. This is because the 8-pin diagnostics term does not have a positive source. The 38 and 16 pin ones, I believe they do. First, I'm just going to use the screwdriver to widen this up a bit because it's a bit too small. Seems to fit pretty well. First, I'm going to start by putting some solder on these ends. Now we're just going to put this in. We're going to press this down, allowing it to heat, and we want it to stick to the actual clip itself. That should be good. We're just going to leave this to cool before applying some heat shrink to the outside. So now for this, we're just going to dip it here. And last one, once again, just dip it in here. And that's it for the soldering. Now for the alligator clip, I'm just gonna grab the biggest size heat shrink I have and apply it to here. You just wanna make sure to wait until it's cold enough to do this. Otherwise the heat shrink will shrink before you're really ready to shrink it. And now these should be colder. Just gonna grab a screwdriver, make sure these banana plugs are open, place this inside and close it up. Everything seems to be connected and everything here seems to be good. So I'm just gonna close this up. And it's time to get the car in the garage to test it out and see if it works. Now to use this tool, the first thing we're going to want to do is put the key on the second position. Now with the ignition on 2, we're going to want to connect the red wire to our battery. Now the black is going to go to 1, which is ground, and the yellow will go into pin 6, which is for the SRS system. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to hold it for 2 seconds and it's going to start blinking. Once it blinks, you note down how many blinks it does, and once it repeats the same number of blinks twice, it means you're done. And now if we hold this button for 2 seconds, 1, 2, let go. You can see 1, 2. Okay, let's hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, let go. And we're gonna see 1, 2, 3. Let's note it down. So for pin 6, we've gotten so far 2, 3, 8, and 9. Let's see if any more. 1, 2. So now it went back to 2, which means that it's done. Now if you want to reset the codes, you're going to want to hold the button down for 6 to 8 seconds. Let's just go 6 seconds. Turn off the ignition and wait 5 seconds. Now you can put it back into ignition 2. From 9 it went back to 3. It did not blink twice, which means that we just reset code number 2. I'm just going to check pin number 7. This is for the AC. 1, 2, 3, 30. Let's see if we have any others. So we just got 30 again, which means that this is the only code we have. So now that you have your codes, you can go to the computer and search what each one means. Over here, we're looking at the AC code table. We got 30 blinks, which is coolant pump short circuit. And over here for the SRS system, we got codes 2, 3, 8, and 9, which are for SRS control module, driver airbag, squib, I don't know what that means, I'll switch it out, and voltage supply circuit, as well as the SRS malfunction indicator lamp or time limit DTC readout / erasing AC. If you guys would like to check out these documents, I'll leave a link in the description. Anyways, that concludes today's video. I hope you guys found it helpful, and if you did, smash like and subscribe, and be sure to stick around because I have some plans to upgrade that diagnostics tool and make it just a bit smarter. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and bye bye.